To the audience, Peri is dead. But to the cast and writers, nobody actually had a real answer. With each story being written independently and the trial theme just being chucked on top of it, coordination was difficult, especially considering John Nathan Turner was having a row with his script editor, Eric Saywood. This story, Terror of the Vervoids, marks the turning point in Trial of a Time Lord, the point where the story becomes incredibly difficult to follow, and it's only the third one. So, without further ado, let's get into it before my head explodes. With the Doctor now distraught, his ability to proceed is called into question, but he is perfectly capable. Now it is his turn to present a case, and he begins by looking into his future for evidence. One quick question: how the hell does he know his own future? Does he now have precognition? I know Time Lords have the burden of being able to see every timeline, but surely that means he knows about what's truly going on. He takes us to the Starliner Hyperion 3, where one lucky passenger will become a murderer. A murder mystery story. Very Agatha Christie. Meet our potential suspects. Professor Sarah Lansky, a thaumatologist, Mr. Granville, or Mr. Hallett, Lasky's lackeys, Doland and Bruckner, Commodore Travers, the ship's commanding officer, Security Officer Rudge, the stewardess Janet, this is the one who the production team bet on to be the killer by the way, Old Man Kimber, Communication Officer Edwards, and the two Megarian passengers, Arza and Ortezo. Don't ask me to tell which one's which. I want you all to place your bets now. If you've seen the story before, that's cheating, but perfectly acceptable. I barely remember myself, to be honest. But that's technically not everyone, as we have the Doctor and Peri. Mel. While they are suspects, we all know that they're not really. In the TARDIS, Mel is forcing the Doctor to exercise, though not well enough. Either way, he gets his reward.
Carrot juice!
Carrot juice. Lovely. Thankfully, his drinking is interrupted by a distress signal they immediately follow, landing them in the Hyperion storage bay. But who sent this distress call? Must be the communication officer. Edwards, of course. Oh, no, never mind. We can check him off the list considering he can't knock himself out. Deciding that the best option is to leave, the Doctor tries to do so. Well, that was quick. I'm sure you could escape unharmed, you know. Those guns are just upside-down label makers. Did the drama department really not have any sci-fi guns in storage? I guess not. Taken to the bridge, we meet Commodore Travers, who has actually met the Doctor before, in this book, as a matter of fact. I suppose setting a story in the Doctor's future leaves room for stuff like this to be filled later by expanded media. Despite the fact he's met the Doctor before and knows that he's a good man, Travers doesn't let them go. He's probably still mad over his proposal to Evelyn, meaning that the TARDIS duo is here to stay, until they solve the mystery, that is. So they hatch a plan. Mel takes a little peruse around the passenger quarters and the gym, while the Doctor has a gander at the passenger list, hopefully recognising a name.
No, all complete strangers, I'm afraid.
He doesn't. In the gym, Mel puts on a retro headphones and begins the music, only to have it stopped by a voice we're not able to hear. But there's nobody there. The voice tells Mel that they want to meet in cabin 6, so she heads there, finding the room in a right state. A silver boot and... the Doctor? Going for surprise, I see. They also find some silver seeds, but this discovery is cut short by a problem in the waste disposal. Grenville, or Hallett, has been thrown into the disposal. Not that the Doctor cares all too much.
Hold it! Just a minute. I don't remember that.
How could you remember? These events are in your future.
A fair point, Darkel. How would the Doctor know?
But I reviewed that section earlier when I was preparing my defence. There have been changes.
Okay, but if this was in the Doctor's future, then he must win the trial and then meet Mel somewhere down the line. Either way, Mel is sent down to the hydroponics centre alone, quickly able to convince Edwards her intentions are good. So they head inside and... Jesus Christ, that's brutal! But it's about to get worse, as with death comes new life. Mel is questioned and she gets the perfect alibi. Both the guard and Edwards have just disappeared without explanation, and so has whatever was in the pods, as Roland and Bruckner discover. They also discover that they're being watched, but by whom they don't know yet. Fortunately, as the audience, we do. It's one of the Megarians, though which one I can't tell. They all have different coloured translators, but I don't know which one is which. The gold one starts coughing and falls onto the floor dead. They take off his mask and... Wait, it's Granville? Hallett, sorry. As the Doctor also recognises him, Hallett is actually an investigator. So, who the hell was thrown into the waste disposal? But the thing is...
How did you know the dead man wasn't a Mogarian?
Yeah. How did you know?
I find this delivery really funny for some reason. He sounds like a gammon.
Yeah.
Simply a bromide.
As you saw, the bogus Megarian did not switch on his translator.
Very astute of you, Doctor.
Well done, Doctor, always perceptive. Deciding that now is finally the time to get down to the bottom of this, they head to the hydroponics centre, not really making any huge discoveries that we haven't already seen. Maybe we'll have more luck in the isolation room.
Did you hear that?
Quickly! The lounge! There are passengers trapped! On the double, man! There are lives at stake!
Ha! Sucker. This is a Vervoid, or at least half of one. Intelligent plant life inspired by an article Pip Baker read on plants being able to feel pain. The Vervoids are unfortunately our villains, but not out of hatred, but out of fear. Genetically, they are engineered to survive, to be free, and the only way they see to achieve this is by destroying humanity, causing them to become killers instead of servants. But who created them? Well, Lasky did. Her, Doland, and Bruckner together created the Vervoids, but each for a different reason. Doland did it so he could have a slave labour force to sell. Bruckner doesn't really care, he's just a scientist, though he eventually feels guilty about it all. Then there's Lasky, who's just doing it sort of again for scientific innovation, but for her it's at any cost. In the gym, Mel discovers the Vervoids quite ingeniously by putting a headset into the vent and pressing record, hearing their entire conversation.
Must not make animal kind aware of our existence. They still outnumber us. If we are to kill them all, we must hunt them down secretly.
When she's knocked out, this leads to her kidnapping being discovered by the Doctor, who acts quickly to get her back. The Doctor assumes it's a man, but Mel puts up another theory.
He? Why not she?
Lasky?
Or the stewardess, Janet?
The butler could have done it.
How about you, sir?
Sorry.
God, she has a terrible job, having to clean all that up. I wonder what else.
I didn't do that!
What the hell is going on? With the Vervoids slowly whittling down the crew, they get more and more daring, even going into the open to try and kill Mel, who acts very quickly to stop her demise. I actually quite like Mel in this story. She's compelling, kind, and highly intelligent. I mean, she is a computer scientist, though not that it comes up all that often. I'm going to hold out on my full judgment of her until Time and the Rani, though. This story actually has some quite good effects. Due to his guilt, Bruckner decides he's going to crash the ship straight into a black hole.
Your colleague is aiming the Hyperion 3 into the eye of the black hole of Tartarus.
That's a badass title. There's the Vervoids themselves, whose top halves look great. The bottom does leave something to be desired, though. The turbulence from Bruckner's time in the bridge is evidently more than just camera shake in some scenes, making it feel a lot more realistic. And then the waste disposal unit, which looks straight out of Portal 1. Using a laser lance, they break open the door to stop Bruckner, but the bridge is full of methane gas, rendering masks ineffective, so Rudge calls in the Megarians to get the ship back on course. Turns out, though, Rudge isn't exactly a great fella.
Grateful to you both. Now that the air is breathable, I'll resume command.
I'm afraid that isn't going to be possible, Commodore.
What he is stating, in the usually devious human manner, is that we are taking over the ship.
Blaze as you will.
At least it doesn't mess about, I suppose. It turns out that there's a side plot that literally is only introduced in the final story. Rudge is annoyed that he's being forced to retire, so has agreed to help the Megarians get some metal in the ship's vault that they believe is rightfully theirs. The thing is, though, I don't really get why. Was the threat of the Vervoids not strong enough? The characters even know that Rudge didn't commit the murders, so what's the point? To just have a reason for everyone to be kept in one place? I don't know. It doesn't go according to plan, though, as the Megarians are killed by an acid attack.
We do not request refreshment.
So it was Janet? I mean, who else could they be expecting to bring them refreshment? It adds up.
I have narrowed the suspects down to 2. You and Professor Lasky.
Okay, well, the only other one that adds up now is Doland. It has to be him.
Doctor, your tape. Not that it'll do you much good. I've wiped it.
Well, that went well.
The first murder could only have been carried out by someone with access to this unit. The second needed poison. Even the abortive attempt on Mel's life could only have been committed by someone who could go unchallenged into the isolation room and get the anesthetic.
All this could have applied to Lasky.
No, not the Megarians. She was a hostage when they were slaughtered.
All very true. I do have one question, however. Why does no one give 2 about the Vervoids? They're just roaming free and nobody's doing anything about it. Look how many they've killed, and now Doland. Now that it's all been revealed, Lasky actually feels bad for it all, realising that she was blinded by scientific vanity.
It's a question of self-preservation, kill or be killed.
A conflict in which there can be no justice.
Equally, there's no choice, and that goes for you too, Doctor. We need your undivided commitment.
And there you have it. The direct request. I did not meddle. I was presented with an appeal. And not just from anybody, but from the man in whom authority was vested.
I accept your argument. Nor Valliard, can you refute it?
I also accept his argument. Let's get this done.
Even you.
The absolute fool. At least he took one with him, I guess. That's almost the entire cast.
In your house in Pease Pottage you had a large garden. What did you do with the plants and weeds you uprooted?
Put them on a compost heap.
They're obeying instinct.
That is not a justification. So the Doctor's plan is to accelerate the Vervoid's life cycle via the metal in the vault. Apparently it releases carbon dioxide when exposed to air, and since they're plants, they'll absorb it all and grow. And it works. All the Vervoids are killed, meaning the Doctor has technically committed
Genocide!
Contravening Article 7 of Gallifreyan law, the Doctor has committed the cardinal sin, genocide, and so the charge is again changed. Again. Is this really necessary? At least there's only one more story after this. Honestly, Terror of the Vervoids is a massive dud. I like what it was going for, I love the setup, but the delivery was just crap. While writing this, I forgot characters' names multiple times. They're just not particularly memorable, and there are so bloody many of them. It's not like the war games where they slowly give you the characters. I mean, while yes, there's only a few parts to this in comparison to the war games, there's just not enough time to set up this many people and have it be a coherent plot. Well, hopefully the finale will be a lot better. Something we will find out tomorrow, as our journey through the Doctor's trial comes to a close, and all loose ends are tied up. Hopefully. I'll see you then.